What's happening, my good people? I might still have some dirt in my face because I was just working and I don't feel the labor. I also am starving and I'm thirsty, but I have this message to share with you real quick. Is about how to deal with toxic persons, persons with traits of narcissistic psychopathy. I have very useful strategies. But before we get to that, I will give you a brief introduction into the topic of empath versus narcissist, and so you can understand all the basics of this topic. So the thing is, there is not a diagnosis that tells us that a person is healthy, okay? But let's just pretend that there is a healthy person, okay? And the healthy person comes from healthy parents and healthy parenting, right? Healthy parents are people who are aware of their personality since years, and they saw their own personality as fractured, because when you believe that your personality is one and you know everything and you are just perfect and you know it all, it means you're self-absorbed and you have a wrong perception of yourself. And it is more healthy to understand your personality as fractured by nature and then start to integrate the parts you have not integrated and work with yourself and have an inclusive mindset, not an exclusive mindset. So these parents have integrated their fractured personality parts. They work with analyzing their own unconscious by analyzing dreams. They probably go or went to therapy. They have integrated, so the father has integrated the anima. His anima is able to show emotions in the right moment and also feel emotions of his children. The mother has integrated her animus, which enables her to not be a man-hater or compete with men, but cultivate her femininity the same way as the father can cultivate his masculinity, but still again showing emotions, and the mother being feminine while still being not completely codependent of the man for, to reflect all her fears on him. So, a lot of parents hold themselves back because the woman is all fearful or hysteric and projects all of that on the man. And in reverse, the man only cultivates masculine virtues of being the protector, of being fearless. But both of these personalities will deny important parts of themselves. So the ideal parents have integrated the animus or anima and other parts of their fractured personality. They also know about parenting, which means they don't reverse the roles of parenting and let their children have empathy for their victimhood or their personal problems. So people with the traits of narcissistic or psychopathic personality disorder will often reverse the roles, which means they put themselves in the role of a victim or being needy and let their children, it's so irritating, I really have something here, let their children go in the role of parenting and having understanding for the parents. So these parents, the narcissistic, the bad parents, will put the interest of their children second or third and make their children have empathetic understanding or guilt trapping their children to accept these selfish, egotistical needs of their parents. Okay? So the ideal parents will not do this. They will not reverse these roles. They will put their children first and support their children in all their natural phases. They will also guide and accompany their children when they go through frustration without teaching the children to use external instant gratification methods to distract them from frustration, which will make the children very resilient and resistant to any addictions. They will also support their children in getting a very strong self-confidence and self-worth, and be stubborn and absolutely not swayed when it comes to installing boundaries for them and putting themselves first in a healthy way. All right. Now, since we did not have this kind of parenting, we did not enjoy this, it is arguably a theory that I will now put out here, that empath are, or to be an empath is a trauma response, the same way as narcissistic psychopathy is a trauma response. Narcissistic psychopathy, people with these traits are in a post-traumatic condition. And probably we could say the same of empath, or at least that an empath is a person that is produced under the same circumstances as a narcissistic psychopath can be produced in childhood. So the same trauma, the same unresolvable experiences without the right parental support or even parental sabotage. Of course, the parents don't want to be bad parents, but they know no better. So they sabotage the development, the healthy development, or the ideal development of the child. So the child becomes either narcissistic or empathetic. I will not go on the narcissistic side. I made many videos about how narcissists are created by idealization and stuff like that. But I'm going to explain you how an empath is being created. So for human beings, for children in this age, it's always about getting what they need in life, parental love, right? And in ideal cases, they get a parental love by unconditional love by the mother and the father in the different ways that feminine and masculine archetypes express love, protection, and other essential emotions and values for their children. So empath did not get the ideal circumstance, again, a traumatic way of whatever it is, okay? It could be a rejection, it could be a blaming, so parents blaming the child for living, for existing, for being there, for having needs. It can be many things, you name it, okay? And the empath then becomes hypersensitive to environment and to body language, to the subtle ways of communication, to read the tone, the voice, the backhanded subtext in every message, everything. They become hypersensitive and basically read vibrations, moods. They know what a person is up to when in a split second, and they are very observant. They process so many informations, and they learn to navigate this jungle. You know, it's like when the Egyptians or any high civilization started staring at the sky, they started pattern recognition and started to be able to navigate in the world. And the same thing is what empaths do, but in a way that they learn to read their environment, their human environment, and try to adapt, to please, to maneuver in any way possible to get through and not to evade pain and get what they need, so they can be people pleasers when they are not empowered yet. But they are also often aware of that virtues are the only way to live a fulfilled lifestyle. So if you are honorable, you avoid things that make you feel ashamed, and it basically leaves you winning in your own way in any situation when you basically believe in love and the right code of conduct, okay? So this is the path the empath goes, okay? While, on the other hand, and I just briefly want to mention it, the narcissistic psychopath will learn to lie and deceive and manipulate people and to project their own drama into them and then blame shift and do all these kind of shady things to get what they want, okay? So these are the two different paths that a human being can take when going through certain experiences. Now, an empowered empath is an empath that later in life starts to wake up to the truth that I am just told you, that really these narcissistic psychopathic counterparts are in existence in the world, and that therefore it is necessary to learn something from them, to learn to mirror, whenever you meet these individuals, to mirror this cold empathy that they have, to give them a taste of their own medicine. And this is when I now come to this method that I want to share with you, that I find very effective. And it means to use the hyper-competitive nature of people with narcissistic psychopathic traits against them. And the thing is, when you deal with these toxic individuals and you rely on your way to solve conflicts in a human and understanding and empathetic way, what will happen is they use your kindness against you. They see your kindness as weakness, and you will use your pets, your home, your children, contact to your children, your money, everything, as long as you don't learn. And then you will have to let your case be handled by a professional lawyer, because a lawyer has has your interest at heart much more than any narcissistic psychopath ever will have your interest at heart. Okay, so what you will do now, let me get to the point. I'm teasing you so hard, right? How to use the competitive nature of the psychopathic narcissist against them. It is when you have healed up, when you have become an empowered empath, when you learned how to mirror the energy back and you stubbornly stay in your truth. This is the moment when you whenever you confront your enemies, but you avoid them if you can. And what you do is you tell them, okay, we have no common ground, okay? There is no common ground between us. And if you want a common ground to discuss with me, the first thing that we will do, we will all together go to a DSM-5 diagnosis. And then we have a basis to talk. Then we see who is who in this game. So to use the competitive nature, compete with them. Say, okay, we can compete. That's fine. We will go and see who will score higher in the DSM-5 ratings with a professional therapist. We undergo the same diagnosis method. And soon we will have AI models that are trained to diagnose narcissistic psychopathy, personality disorder. So it will get more simple to do this. And when you are an empath, you don't have to be afraid of this diagnosis, right? Because you will not be, you know that you have your empathy. You know that you are the opposite of this, right? So you don't have to be afraid of this, but they will be very afraid of this, and also, it, you know, this will scare them because they have the smear campaign running. They tell everybody these stories. They will present themselves as a victim of you. But this is just an offer that everybody can know, right? Everybody can know that you offer it to them, and this means that you pursue the truth, which means they pursue lies and deception, right? So offer them to go if they really want anything from you, or they attack you still in some ways, or they still hustle with you, they still play with you. Let everybody know you offered these people to find out who is who, to do this diagnosis, compete with them, and then they either show that they are afraid of it or they commit to it. In any case, you win. Of course, they will win in the high score of DSM-5, but that's what they're afraid of. They are afraid of winning in this case. Stay blessed.